I'd say that works. There. Done. Okay, so that's one more thing done. Now it's just the test is going to be fitting that pin in there. Okay, let's see if it fits nice. Yes. I actually engraved the wrong side of the flange earlier. So now I'm starting all over again. And on the correct side. Alright friends, it is now time to make a little button knob. I'll be drilling a 9/64 hole in that thing because I'm going to be making 832 threads on that little pin. So let's get started. Okay, that's not too bad. I have this cutter here that I sometimes use to line up a piece and whatnot, but it's got a beautiful curve to it, and that's I want to have a concave knob so that I can pull on it. So let's see if I can manage to hold the piece just enough to get that done. Now, let's see, does my tool fit? It could. It's going to be pretty snug. And I've got my tool in there, and it is very, very close to the chuck jaws. So I locked everything in just to be safe. And I'm going to very slowly come in with my tool and carve out a cavity. That should do it right there. Yeah, I kind of like the looks of this. So now I've got to drill this up so that I can tap it. Instead of going with a 9/64 drill bit, I chose to go with a number 29 simply because it's going to give me a little more material to form the threads. Okay, I've reached the bottom of the hole. Alright, so instead of cutting it and only having this in there and really not being able to give myself enough space for a nice looking finish, I've decided instead to turn around because the cavity allows my chuck jaw to go right in there, and I just tighten it enough so that it would hold. So I'm going to phase this off, turn it down here a touch just to make the finish look good, and I'll have like a lot of different features in this thing. It's going to make it look cool. So that's what I've decided to do. Oh, that's going to look nice. Alright. Cool. I'd love to have a nice chamfer at the top of this thing. Let's grab a tool for that. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. Okay. Pull that out of there and see what it looks like. Huh, good. I didn't make any disasters. Now that I've got the little pull knob done, right, I'm gonna have to thread this little pin. I'm gonna take it out and give it some threads. I've reached the moment where I've got all my parts made. I've got everything marked. I've had to skip a few steps in the filming simply because this video is long enough already. As you can see, I've stamped and marked these things. So what I'm ready to do now is clean this base with acetone very, very well. And then I'm gonna black or blue it with this stuff here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll bring you in when I put the bluing stuff on. The most important thing to do when you use cold bluing is just to have it completely degreased. Okay, so I'm gonna pour some in. And this stuff works pretty well immediately. You can see it darken already, right? So you want it covering the whole surface. You can't ruin anything by leaving it longer. So clearly here, see there's some spots that are not bluing quite as fast. That's okay. I'm in no rush. Now once you use this stuff, you can't reuse it. It works amazing. I want this to be nice and dark. Okay, that's coated very nicely. So let's flip this over. And see the top is, yeah, where it was sitting on. You can see it didn't darken enough. So I'm just going to put this on a little more here. I bought this stuff last year, actually hoping to start using it about this time around when I was starting making tools. So I guess it worked out just the way I planned it somehow. Okay, so now it's just a question of rinsing this stuff, and that'll be it. Put a little oil. Now I'm going to apply a light coating of oil. This is gear oil for my lathe. This stuff works just fine. So after you're done bluing your piece, the directions are clear. You just rinse it with water. Kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? And then you dry it up with forced air. And the last step is to put oil on your piece to give it some protection. And then pretty well, all you got to do is, dry off the excess oil, and that is it. It leaves a beautiful black finish. I'm going to finish cleaning this up, and I'll bring you in for the assembly. Pretty exciting. Well, it's time to assemble this gaggle of parts. And here are the things that I've created out of this. This sleeve, the base, the pin, that little screw, this button cap, whatever, handle, and of course, the retaining screw for the sleeve. So let's assemble this thing. And first of all, you gotta put those bearings in there. Man, I'm pleased with this. Okay, great. Next thing I like to do is flip this over, insert washer and needle bearings and washer. And I didn't end up making a tool for this nut simply because I don't need it. I spent a lot of time deburring all this stuff. Took me, I'd say, about an hour and a half of deburring for everything put together. There we are. And this doesn't need to be overly tight, so the wrench was really useless. The whole idea is you want this to turn. It turns freely. There's no slack at all. So what I'm going to end up doing is applying a drop of Loctite on here. I just want to get it right, so I'm going to do that later. So now I'm ready to put the pin in. In goes the pin. Hopefully I'm not blocking the view here. Okay, here we go. And it is spring. And this is the part you got to hold your breath, because otherwise if that thing goes flying, you got a problem. You know, who knows if you'll ever find it. I think it's off. It is not sitting in there. Okay, plan B. Things don't always work out perfect, right? So when you're struggling, step back. Okay, take this off. I'll put the pin in first. There you go, because I know it'll fit. See, because this was cut at 5 degrees, it's really, this is with your brain a little bit, trying to get this screw in there. There, just like that. Might as well put this in while I'm here. That's the knob. And I'm not going to glue that knob in, simply because if I glue it in and I need to take it out, it could be a problem. So I'm simply going to screw it in, snug. There we go. All right, let's start again. Bearing. There we go. Oh, there's residue of oils. That's perfect. See, the pin holds it in. There we go. And bam, it just falls in on its own. Put the bearings on the underneath. Put the screw in. Hopefully it comes on. There we go. Now, I'm going to pull the pin out of its location simply so that I can tighten this up. Make sure that this rotates freely. Yep. Great. So check this out. Falls right in on its own. So let me do it so that you can actually see. Pull the pin out. Take it out of its location. Turn to the next. And it falls in on its own. That's a whole lot better than having to screw that thing in. That would have been a real, annoyance. So now, let's put this in. Half-inch bit. So that's good. So I guess the next thing I need to do is set up a diamond grinding wheel in my surface grinder to try out this fixture. What you see here is a picture of the end mill that I'm going to work on. And it has no 2-degree angle. The primary cutting angle is horrible, and there's basically no secondary. This was sharpened by me, by hand, and the clear failure. So hopefully the fixture will resolve all those issues. Let's go try it out. For those of you who do not have a surface grinder, and if you do, this is a really dangerous tool, so just be cautious when you're working these things. Make sure your chuck is on and that everything is supported appropriately, okay? at it, of course. This is about 15 minutes into it. And see now the middle of each cutting edge is being cut in the middle. That's the 2 degrees being cut towards the center. That's how much, that's how badly this thing has been sharpened before. That's how badly this thing has been sharpened before. So clearly lots of work to do there first. And then once I get that situation resolved for the 2 degrees, then I'll proceed with the secondary. That makes a lot more sense to me, really. I'm at the bench now with the fixture and the end mill that I just started sharpening. And you can see the primaries are done nicely, but I had to cut down a whole lot. And as a result, now the gash is almost disappeared in the middle. Well, nearly 20 thousandths in order just to reach a point where the center was at its correct 2 degrees. So now I'm going to recut the gash with my little Dremel tool and go back at it. Going down 1/1000th at a time here. The point where all the 2 degrees are completely done, the primaries look good. So I'm going to shut off the grinder, get set up to cut the secondaries, make sure there's no danger, and I'll bring you back. Actually, why don't we just stay right here, and I'll back this off so you can actually see what I'm doing. Alright. So I'll deactivate the chuck. Number 1, clean this up with my hand. This is the best way to do it. I've stoned the chuck, by the way. It's all good. Now, reactivate the chuck. Actually, I'll bring it closer. Let's try that again. Hey, it looks good. Excellent. Okay. Now, secondaries. I'm gonna have to come in a little closer to center with my diamond wheel. And so I'm doing this by eye, of course. And now I need to bring down the wheel. This is how I like to do it with any wheel. Turn over to the next flute. And this one's higher, so I'm going to go back a touch, 1,000, see? That's good. Next one. This one's even higher. Back 1,000. Okay, it's touching, but barely. That's good. And the last one. And that one's even higher, so back off another 1,000. There we go, and this is where I'll start. I'll recheck this one. Quite a ways to go. Okay, great. So that's how I set this up. It's just like one little step at a time. Let's try that again. that didn't cut, so that's fine. I'll check all 4. Imagine if you had to unscrew this every time, that would be crazy. Okay, I'll go down 1,000ths. Start from the beginning. Still didn't touch. This is going to take a while because basically I'm rebuilding this end mill, but it was a good exercise. Now, if you had to just retouch them, clearly would go faster. So I had a touch off here on this thing. So go down 1 more 1,000ths, and this is where I'm going to start from. There we go. I can do it again. No, nothing here. Okay, back to the beginning. Another 1,000ths. This is going to take a while. But that's okay. I'd rather take my time than have an accident. Got a slight touch here. Okay, I'll bring it back once I get a little further into it. Back at the bench. And just to show you, I am stunned. Each one of these edges is really, really good. Look at the secondary, came out fantastic. Primary, same thing. And I can't wait now to try this on the mill. So let's set up for that, and let's give it a whirl. All right, the end mill is in, the speed is set, the DRO is zeroed. It's time to give it a whirl. Let's try with, say, 20,000. Slow feed. I didn't put any oil just to see what happens. Already I can tell it's going to look good. That thing is cutting awesome. Wow. Never have I had such fantastic finish. Look at that. Not a little tiny scuff. Wow. That is amazing finish. Honestly, I don't know why I waited so long to do this. Okay, well, let's try that again with a 40,000 depth of cut and see how it goes. All right, set that to 40. There it is. Okay, let's give it a whirl. So well. Have a quick look again here. Very satisfied. Wow. Yeah, so this was, the grinder was a tool well worth making. A lot of work, but well worth it. Another look at the light here, look at that. I mean, usually you see little marks from the cutters. Not a single thing. Like, honestly, this is excellent. So to conclude this third episode, I have to say that I'm extremely pleased with how well this thing performed. Every bit of work was well worth it. Out of all the features in this thing, this little spring-loaded pull knob by far is the best feature. Had I not done that, I would have got frustrated with this thing. No doubt about it. Now, when you get around to milling or cutting down or turning down this sleeve, you saw me struggle with that shaft because I had to use 3 different tools in order to deal with that, that area that was basically stuck between 2 parts. Now, there is a way to get rid of that issue. It would have been simply to take that piece completely out of the lathe, turn it around, and then completely mill that other, that 35 millimeter part of the shaft with 1 tool, and I wouldn't have had to struggle for so long. I mean, that part alone took half a day, honestly. There's been a lot of videos edited out of these 3 episodes. I'd say probably 5-6 hours worth of video had to be cut out just to make it fit in a reasonable time fashion. So you missed out a lot of stuff, but you got the gist of everything that had to be done. So hopefully you gained a little bit of insight on how to design and machine anything like a project. You've got to consider all kinds of different things. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like the content on my channel. Ring the bell if you like. And hey, leave me a comment. Always like to hear from you. Take care. Bye-bye.